So Piotr, can you go in a section contracting and installation? Point number 2.
The system specialist takes a contractor, for manual installation. This one.
Okay. Yes. Can you explain me whole end-to-end solution, how you are handling that one?
Sure. So I'm assuming that internal users have the visibility of all other users, and that the system specialist manually select the contractor, as there's no predefined criteria. So by selecting contractor, he just gonna set up the lookup on the project to the contractor record, and based on the sharing set, then contractor gonna get the access to the record, which has also access to the all the Reddit files.
Okay. So Piotr, where are you storing customer design document?
I'm storing it on S3.
And how would the users would get an access? How would be the user experience for the users?
So there's X5 Pro provides the component which is similar to the standard files component, where upon getting to the record, you can the user can have access to the given status record. Gonna see all the files which are in S3 folder related to that record. And that's how, by providing the access to the record, I can also provide access to all the files.
Okay. So in this case, customer design document is related to which record?
Project.
Project. And okay. And the next part is estimation. What are you using for estimation? Which object?
Okay. Sorry, that's a great question. Sorry for not clarifying that. So estimations are kept in the quotation object, and what I'm going to provide only the contractor. I'm going to provide a Lightning Web component, which is going to display the limited number of the current quotes. So it's actually a product, the active quote with all the estimation and all the products.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is contractor would be able to see all the quotes as a Lightning Web comp.
Not all the quotes, only the selected quote, and only subset of the information divided. So
okay,
yes, as alternate solution, I consider providing them the partner community with the access to the opportunity, but because there's no edit opportunity or it's only for review information ones, that I went with the CC Plus with the Lightning component.
So basically, you are saying that you are going to give the selected quote permission to the contractor using LWC without giving the partner community license?
Yes, because I'm not. They are just for reviewing, so just gonna have like a summary object of the current code. There's no action on it, and I'm it's for view only.
But that's kind of the breaking the contract, right? When you're signing the Salesforce licensing terms and condition, you cannot expose those objects using LWC.
Yes, I could actually use a shadow objects for that also. So I can have like a rated, and it's not breaking from the like visibility. It's just only limited number summary of the information which was there. So I'm not showing all the records, I can just show the summary of the information.
No. So Piotr, just so that I understand, so you are saying that the quotes estimates are on the quote, and you're using a Lightning Web component to the customer community plus license to show only the approved or the limit subset of the quote.
So
But
I believe. So, okay, let me take me back. Then let me change the solution, because I believe the quote was actually firstly agreed with the customer, which was sent via email. So what I can do here, I'm gonna store the PDF version of the same which was generated and sent to the customer. It was agreed on the project level.
Okay, Varuna.
Yeah. So, Peter, you said you're using X-Files Pro and S3, and you said on the data load you're gonna load the files to S3, right?
Correct.
The whole files.
Yes.
So how does X-File Pro know that these files are related to this record?
That's purely by name conversion. So let's say that there will be a folder which is X-Files Pro on the S3 or other providers, can be other ones, and then under it there will be a folder which will be named project, and then we have the external ID or ID of the project, and all the files which will be in that subfolder are automatically visible via X-Files Pro to the anybody who can access the project record.
So if you do, okay, so if you do like a refresh to one of the test environment, like sandbox refresh, the Salesforce row IDs are going to change, right? So what's going to happen for this file integration?
Sure. So so that's solution. Thank you. That's a great question. I'm assuming here that as we are talking about live contract or data, I'm not gonna have the same data actually so to the full sandbox or any other environments as we'll have the subset. So actually I take it as advantage that they will be not visible on the sandboxes. Now, if we're talking about solution that we want after refresh of the sandbox and we after the migration, that's where we suggest instead of using the IDs of the Salesforce records in the folder names, we're going to combine. We're going to use external IDs, which will be set up during the data migration, and that's the external IDs would be the folder names. So thanks to that, after even the reload of the data, the records will be matching.
So for a new file we just created, what's going to be the external ID now?
For a new file, so that's a folder name. So let's say for the new contract, let's say, yeah, for a new project, yeah. So we can have a name convention, which is going to automatically on the creation of the project record, we're going to create an external ID based on some kind of template, and then whenever we're going to upload the file, X-Files Pro automatically going to create a folder for that matching that file.
Okay, so when you're loading these files to S3, what API, how are you going to load it? API or?
Are we considering data migration?
Yes, migration.
Okay. So there will be I'm gonna go with the assumption. I'm not the integration person, but I'm gonna assumption that S3 provides the ETL gonna have a connector to S3, which gonna then automatically create the files and folders. Yeah. So I'm not really concerned about what kind of API is provided by S3.
But you are proposing to load to S3 and you don't know the API?
Yes, as part of the one-time data migration, yes. So there, all the known for me ETL tools on the market will have connectors for S3.
Okay, what is the ETL? Can you go to landscape, please? Landscape.
Yeah. So I didn't specify the ETL OSB. I would assume this can be, for instance, MuleSoft. However, that should be enterprise architecture decision, as this would be used across multiple systems.
I have one other question about the. You said you're going to use a code for the estimations, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So there's a requirement that says the code has to go through a approval process, right?
Correct.
So my question is, if can you explain the whole flow? Say assume it goes to manager, he says it should be $100 less than what we quote. So how we're going to modify the value of the code and then go for another approval? Can you explain to me the end-to-end process on your approval process?
Sure. So I'm going here that the quotation process is still fully managed by a system specialist. In that case, let's say that then system specialist talks with the client, provides a quote. Client agrees on the quote. This goes then he then sends for approval. Based on the quote item, it goes either to his direct manager or manager. Then this manager gonna get notification, gonna open the quote, says that this is too less, gonna provide a comment saying that this is too less. That's and don't approve it. So this updates records of quote back to the requiring approval with the maybe chat post or communication. Then system specialist is gonna take this record, gonna discuss with the user, say that it's not approved, gonna change the quote to the amount, and then resend it for a new approval.
So I'm going to make a new quote version.
Yes, he will create a new quote.
Okay. So when you get the new quote version for the approval, how does the manager know this was related to the previous quote?
Is this a requirement to is a new requirement to have this information? So
yeah, because this is CRM system, right? So as a manager, I'm going to say reduce the price, and after 2 days,
so if this is the requirement, instead of having multiple quotes, I could actually have the same quote and being updated. So, and we can have a kind of history tracking, and that's how the manager will see changes.
So what's your final solution? Are you using?
I'm gonna use the same quote. I'm gonna say quote and history tracking.
Did you have questions? Did you have any questions?
No, I don't have any question on this topic, but another topic. So, Piotr, one of the requirement is about the geolocation, and you have used WC in the mobile. Can you walk through how that would work?
Sure. So, as the system specialist is on the location, he's gonna have a quick action on the opportunity. He will be there. He's gonna quick action. He's gonna open up Lightning components, which are using the standard functionalities of the Lightning component. Browser capabilities gonna use the GPS location. Of course, it has to be allowed by browser, by the application, and gonna then get these locations, and this then update the location record with this GPS coordinates.
Okay, and this is a Salesforce mobile app, native mobile app that you're going to use, right?
Salesforce once or old name, Salesforce Mobile, yes.
Yeah. So is there any consideration, any setting, anything has to be enabled in mobile for enabling the geolocation?
I'm gonna skip this question.
Okay. Another question I have on the mobile topic itself. In the second business requirement, there is a talk about lead conversion, and you said that you're going to use a flow with the lead conversion. Can you go back on that requirement?
Sure. Let me explain. That's not what I meant. I'm using a Screenflow to do the pre-qualification process, and and that's as a result we can have a result and say that's is good enough or not, like scoring kind of mechanism. So that's my that's how it works. Now, if the scoring is fine and the service specialist is happy by the kind of how discussions went with the client, and then he's gonna click the standard convert button to create the account opportunity, etc.
So let's assume that I need to convert a lead from my mobile app. Does Salesforce Mobile support the lead conversion process?
I think it does. My assumption is it does. For some, but my also assumption here, this is when he's on the call. This is not when he's on the visit. So I was assuming that's when he would be qualifying the visits afterwards.
But let's assume that I change a requirement here saying that they have to convert the lead on the go when they are traveling. Can they do it using Salesforce Mobile?
I believe they can now. If this is not possible, if this my assumption is incorrect, I would need to build my custom Screenflow to do that, just for matching the to the active account in case if there's.
Okay. On the second requirement I see here, you have used Web to Lead. What would happen when the Salesforce is under maintenance? So multiple time it happens that Salesforce is going maintenance like half an hour, like once in a quarter, especially during the major release. What would happen to all the leads that would come when the Salesforce is down?
So currently, the down period is only usually 5 minutes, but during this period, the database is unreachable, and these leads will not be coming to the system. They will just disappear, I believe.
As an architect, what would be your suggestion? So what would be your solution if that is happening?
Sure. As we have quite advanced planning on the downtime period, I would and we have here only a single web page to manage. Maybe with the two fronts separate from AWS. I will plan this ahead with the web team and put the web to lead form down for the period when the Salesforce is down to the scheduled maintenance. So
Okay.
hide the phone for that 5 minutes or 15 minutes.
Okay. Can you open your system landscape?
So
slide number, I think 7. Yes, here. What is the security between Salesforce and ESB?
ESB is we're going to have a JWT flow and two-way SSL as additional security.
And how do you enable the two-way SSL?
So that's I have to have enabled by the support, and I need a certificate from the ESB to be loaded to the Salesforce.
Okay. And why did you exactly use a JWT overflow? Why not the other flows?
As this is the industry standard, that's recommended flow for server-to-server application provides. It's performed best.
There is a SAML bearer flow also, right, which acts as a server-to-server. Why you have not considered that?
Sorry, which one?
SAML. There is a SAML overflow also.
Oh, so yeah. So as we have here, this way I get authentication automatically. The whole agreement process is limited with the offload as we have to also only verify JWT based on the certificates which already loaded. So and we have also the refresh tokens. So that's like best performing. Okay.
Varuna?
Yeah, Piotr, you explained you'll be using social sign-on for this LinkedIn, all right? Can you explain to me the end-to-end flow, the workflow?
Sure. So assuming that's from browser, a client accesses the Salesforce, he's gonna choose the outside version, let's say Facebook, then it will be request related to the Facebook with the request for authorization code. Then he will be authorized, and if not yet authorized to Facebook, and gonna spread consent to share the information with Salesforce. This is gonna then have a return with the authorization code. Then Salesforce gonna use this authorization to get the request token. It can be optional calls to get maybe additional information of the user, and based on that, this is also going to create the matching between his user and Facebook using the third-party table, and then going to send back the authorization code back to the authentication, the token that's access. So then send back access token to the browsers, who the browser will be then using to access security resources from Salesforce.
So which endpoint do you hit to get additional user information?
There's on the off something we use of yes, I don't remember exactly.
And then okay, so the additional info, how do you get it? Is it a token? What do you get back?
So you can get additional like user details which were provided in the consent, like I know if there was not like email or the some other profile user settings, like language maybe or something like that.
So what is this additional token you get as part of this social sign-on flow? Is there additional token?
Sorry, can you clarify what you mean additional token?
Yeah, is there an additional token involved? The social
No,
sign-on.
sorry. I mean, no, I didn't mean additional token. I mean additional user information. So
Yeah, yeah. My question was like access token. Is there another additional token that you get along with the social sign-on flow?
So first of all, you're gonna access token because, and then you're gonna get only the. Oh, and you can get also a refresh token.
Okay. Anything else?
Can't remember anything else.
Okay. And then last question. So on Salesforce to set up Facebook social sign-on, what are the things you have to do?
You can just set up an authentication provider, and Salesforce out of the box support the authorization provider without for Facebook, for Google, a few others.
So what is that class called? What is the name of the class? What is it called? What kind of handle is that?
You mean registration handle?
Yeah, what is it? Can you repeat that?
Registration handler? You mean the class which is called when the user is coming back?
Correct, yeah, reg handler.
Okay,
so in what are the two main functions it does?
Create user, update user.
So how does Salesforce know whether to create or update?
That's when they coming from the OpenID provider is matched against the user using the third-party table.
Third-party table?
Third-party link table, I believe.
Is it something that Salesforce gives, or?
So this is the table inside Salesforce, where you have a matching between Salesforce user and other users coming from the providers.
So if the user has a login, if they tried Facebook and LinkedIn, two social sign-ons, would there be one record or two records?
Two records.
What would the two records?
The ID per provider, per user provider.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. Did you have questions?
Yeah, not on this one. Okay, good. So let's go on the another topic. When I think in the related to the data migration, there is a requirement related to the SMS. Requirement number 7. Let's see, which section is that one? So that is section
You mean SMS?
contracting and installation. Contracting, yeah, SMS.
Yeah.
Yes, that's 7.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk me through how that would work?
Sure. So the status of the order will be updated by integration in Salesforce. Then we have a auto trigger flow, which gonna send the email notification and gonna also send the text message using Service Cloud Voice when you have something like a text message table, and that's where you're gonna be sending the text message notification to your specialist.
Okay, and so in that case, which tool you are using for SMS?
Service Cloud Voice.
Say Service Cloud Voice. Does Service Cloud Voice support SMS?
Yes, can send the text messages notifications.
Service Cloud Voice is for the CTI, right? Are you sure that?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you guys. What I mean is, sorry, it's not Service Cloud Voice, it's digital experience, which comes with the text messages package. Sorry. Oh.
Okay, and how do you set up the digital experience?
Can you please clarify the question?
Yeah, how do you set up? Is there any consideration on the digital experience, right? What is supported, what is not supported?
There are some limitations about using long and short numbers for communication, but both ASR and Rosenberg are actually supported in the US and Canada. Otherwise, there's also yeah, that is where I come back.
Okay.
Okay. I had a question. Peter, can you go to the last requirement on project and development requirements?
Project government?
Yeah, the last requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah, technical design issues. How do you address them?
Sure. So that's when we kind of come from our CV. We got our technical board, and that's where we have our technical architecture. So we're gonna have two major functions. First one would be actually review the technical design. Okay, so any project before start, you should have provided a technical design document which has to be approved by the board. And second part of that would be also of providing the best practices and defining processes, etc.
So I'm gonna create a design for each and every use case.
No, so so there are like levels of abstraction. So overall, a project before the start, it should have a technical design document, which should target the most important things around the design patterns, the number of API calls, data service, data model, etc. And that's when we should be reviewed by the board. The board would not be responsible for checking every single field of the design value.
So if a developer decides to use, let's say, a process builder, and the ideal choice might be using a flow, how would who's gonna make the design choice?
So, so overall technical, there's also so the board would be responsible for high level. There will be technical leads in each of the streams of the work, which will be responsible for the low level design, which should be also will be reviewed by them, and that's where the low level design is actually would be included in the technical approach of the user stories. So they will be doing this design, and technical leads would be acting based on the rules provided by technical architecture board, and this is going to provide templates. For instance, we can define the rules that process builder should not be used at all because it should be only flows to use, and that's when it should be reviewed.
Okay. Yeah. So, can you do all these things in a 4-month project? Are you proposing to requirement above this?
Yes, so that's a great. So that's also belongs really on the maturity of the team and working kind of here agile and expanding. So I in this kind of time frame, I would assume that the technical architects has to work really closely in the with the team and kind of pretty much will be involved in providing these details as this. So in this case, on the formal project, probably the board is a bit would not be able to set up the board, but this should be reviewed by the representative of the board.
So, Peter, what is the mobile approach you are using? What is the mobile?
So this is one of the risks which I highlighted. We use Salesforce mobile for internal, but the mobile publisher for externals, which is each transit timelines. Because we have to have approvals, etc., which probably takes about a month. So that's my target will be with the planning and starting the approval process of the and request for the app as soon as possible.
So who's gonna get the approval? Salesforce or the client?
So client has to raise the request to Salesforce, providing all the details for like branding details for the app.
I'm sorry, provide. Who's gonna make the request?
So client will raise the request, but then Salesforce upon the gonna start the process to provide this app in the stores.
Sorry, Peter, can you?
So the first step is clients provide all the details, including branding, etc., to the Salesforce, so they can start working on that. But the Salesforce will be responsible for publishing this app to the web stores. The app stores.
Both Google and Apple?
Yes.
Okay. Honest.
So, Piotr, what are some of the high-level project risks that you see, and how you are going to mitigate them?
So I think the highest risk is pretty much timeline here, as if it's supposed to be 4 months timeline for the kind of global or rollout, including translations, etc. This could be not realistic. So I would suggest using MVP approach, defining the scope of the work which was and suggest maybe instead having a global release, having a stage approach, when this would be release story only for one region. Another high risk is data migration and data combination. So from that perspective, we have started the process of the gathering data, especially files, mapping, and combining cleansing as soon as possible. Considering number of the records and number of the sources systems, that's also one of the things which would be difficult to manage in these limited timelines. And customer publisher app, that's what we discussed. So that's the main risks.
Okay. And in the development life cycle, there is a requirement number 4. Can you go there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what risk do you see in the approach that they are suggesting how to simultaneous release complete solution?
So first of all, this is a big risk for the company if you're going to release whole process and try to sand down all the systems together without getting any feedback before of the company or the clients. So doing that first time, assuming there's no experience in Salesforce, brings a lot of issues, including the adoption, training, data migration, sundowning system, etc. Yeah.
But I see your suggestion is MVP, and you are suggesting the stage, not the simultaneous, right?
Correct.
Why let's say if the client doesn't understand want to do the MVP, and we really that is a really let's say the uh, compliance requirement, regulatory requirement that we have to release all the market at the same time, what would be your solution?
Sure. So I would suggest having a limited scope and combine maybe some of the functionalities and maybe not the best user experience for the out-of-the-box solution as much as possible. And having also significant resources allocated from the day one on the data challenges. And also having the goal strategy where we're going to have a rollback plan instead of if in case there's any issues. To be able to go back to the old systems. And finally, training and having the champions training as soon as possible and having the tested during the UAT phase. Yes, that's it.
And would you still go with agile? I see that you are suggesting agile methodology. Would you still go with agile in that
No,
approach?
sorry, let me clarify that. I'm saying if you have a like strict end date, this is not agile anymore. That's waterfall. So I think like highlight having a waterfall high level plan where, especially with the integration teams and with the other teams as they're working independently, we have to have some contract to say that these functions will be available on that date. So for that, we need a waterfall plan. Now, what we're going to use here as agile for will be like as our internal Salesforce work, the sprint planning, where we're going to prioritize the task, prioritize the backlog, and we're going to also use it to have as repeated feedback as possible for the SMEs and to get to reduce the risk of developing something which is not working.
Okay. For the requirement number 1 on the same Excel sheet, for the multi-language, how you are going to handle? I see only translation. What else you need to do for that one?
Sure. So as mentioned, we're going to have use a translation, which is one topic involving the team from the management, maybe some other companies to provide the translations. We're going to use here a translation workbench. We're going to use custom labels. We're going to use community translations, and we have to also consider translations for the emails and contracts.
Okay. Varna?
Yeah, Peter, can you go to page number 7, requirement 2D?
It's for monitoring.
Yeah. Sorry,
What? Data migration. 2B.
2D, D for dog.
Device installed on customer site. Okay.
No,
So
not B. Not B. D for dog.
D. Okay.
Yeah. Can you explain integration end to end?
Okay, so so for that I'm using the okay, as this requirement to be have instant feedback on the for the user, I'm just using a Screenflow, which we're gonna use external services provided by ESB, which would be a gateway, and we're gonna have a call out request reply, remote request reply to the ESB external services. Then this ESB gonna make a call to the ERP system to update the service order and get the feedback directly back to the user.
So, what if you use external services? What is the requirement from ESP side? Is there a specific?
Yeah, it has to be in the specific format, and yeah.
Can you tell me how do you set up an external service in Salesforce?
I'm gonna skip this question.
Sorry, Peter?
I would like to skip this question. Sorry.
Okay. I think we are out of time. 40 minutes.
41. Yeah.
You want to stop? Or
I think Piotr, I have a last question for you.
Sure.
Can you go in the sharing section?
Mm-hmm.
In sharing section.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 minute.
Visibility and requirements, yeah.
Yeah, in the sharing requirement number 6.
Mm-hmm.
How did you say that?
So as the customers are owned by support specialists, I'm not going to go through the external hierarchy. I'm assuming that we're going to use the standard Salesforce functionality where the primary role for a parent account is as default able to see all the children records.
When you say the parent sharing set, what exactly is the meaning of the parent sharing set?
So what I can also use is having the sharing set, use the account parent to share the records.
But contact can have only one parent, right? So that means that contact can be shared only with one account, but the requirement is for the multiple account. How would you handle that?
I could have a top parent field set up on the account and use that for sharing.
But you're assuming that all the accounts are related. What the accounts are not related? Okay. And how you can only in the sharing set you can only go 2 level. What if the related account is 4th level or 3rd level? How would you handle those scenarios?
Thank you for the question. So there are four level of the accounts here. Yeah. So in that case, I can go with the Apex sharing for that.
And any consideration for Apex? As this
Sure.
is standard
Yes, that's the main consideration here is in case of the change of the ownership, we're gonna use lost all the Apex sharing as a manual, which they have to be reapplied after the owner has been changed.